Welcome to Finest Worksongs. My name is Matt.
My name is also Matt. We haven't really talked since the last episode. Pretty much like Lennon and McCartney.
We're not friends.
Yeah, I mean, like once these seasons are done, we sort of go our separate ways.
To our mansions.
Yeah, I mean, like the Beatles, like McCartney would go up to his farm in Scotland.
John Lennon was in New York.
So we just don't talk.
Ringo was down at Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah, playing with the band.
That's his side gigs with the animatronic band. Oh, man. George was on top of a mountaintop in India.
Yeah, that's right.
We have something new this season, don't we, Matt?
We do. Kenny Gmail is
Kenny
our new
Gmail.
segment. We also don't want to miss that opportunity to share some of the cool things that people are writing to us. So we thought each episode, we'll take one email and read it.
Matt's just going to randomly pick one.
Just randomly picking one. So this first one, shout out to Shyla for sending this one. This was in response to our NXS Kick episode.
And when did we get this email?
This one came January 3rd this year.
Okay, so responding to something about a year and a half ago.
Her email, again, thank you, Shyla. Thank you for the auspicious write-up. It, in fact, was a amusement accountant. Look advanced to more added agreeable from you. By the way, how can we communicate?
Wow.
Thanks for asking that. I mean, how we can communicate, finestworksongs@gmail.com,
Yeah.
Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, @finestworksongs.
Does she have a website of her own?
Let me see what it is. Dreamproxies.com.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That must be like a startup business.
Sure, I'm sure. Since this is our first Kenny Gmail, I do have one more I
Great.
wanted to just really read. And this one comes from Lorenza. He has this is a great question. Can I vape on University of Miami?
Oftentimes people come to us for answers, especially about vaping. So it's a topic we frequently discuss.
Really philosophical question.
Yeah,
Can I
especially
vape on University of Miami?
On University of Miami. What can you do on University of
Or
Miami?
what can't you do?
Yeah,
I mean,
maybe
that's
the
the
better
real
question.
question.
Yeah.
I mean,
Did Lorenzen?
yeah, I think it's Lorenzen. Does he have a website too?
Yeah.
George-McCracken.com.
Okay.
/3mg, I think for milligrams, -nicotine, -is, -how, -much, -is, -nic, -salts.
Can I vape on University of Miami? That's a good question, Lorenzen.
Really good question.
If any listeners have any answers to that, please let us know. Or go to that website. Do you want to say it again?
Oh, sure.
No, never mind.
So
Thanks
yes,
to all the listeners for emailing.
yeah.
And hey, listen, maybe you'll be lucky enough to have us read it on the air.
So thanks to both of you.
All right, Matt, as we begin season 4, what album are we covering?
We are talking about today Emmylou Harris's Wrecking Ball.
As always, we begin with our memories. So what is your memory of Emmylou Harris's Wrecking Ball?
Emmylou Harris has never been someone on my radar, although as I've listened to this album, it makes me wonder why not. And I know part of it is, as we've talked about before, I went through a time where I kind of vehemently avoided country. And so I think that negates a huge chunk of artists and music to listen to. So I never really listened to her country stuff. And so my memory of this album is really listening to it the past week preparing for this. But as I've listened to it, the thing that just ties it all together is her voice, which is just unbelievable. It's a really interesting atmospheric album. What's your memory of Emmylou Harris's Wrecking Ball?
Matt, did I ever tell you that I went to military school overseas?
No, you didn't.
Yeah, it was a pretty positive experience for the most part, except for this one time that we were flying home and our plane crashed on a remote, uninhabited jungle island.
Oh, man.
Only one adult survived. That was the captain, but he was pretty delirious, and so it was kind of up to the kids to be running the show. As one of the oldest boys, I tried to get things organized and get everyone together. And there was another older boy, and he kind of had a different idea of what to do, but they elected me leader of the group.
Okay.
Obviously, the first thing is rescue. And so I take the glasses of this one. Only one boy wore glasses.
Sure.
We were able to start a fire, and we had to keep this fire going so that if any aircraft passed by, we would be rescued. Except for one night, the captain, the adult, was fever sick and delusional and wandered off into the jungle. The other older boy was on watch duty, but they went into the jungle to go try and find the captain and let the fire go out.
Oh, man.
And we missed a helicopter go by. We got into a fight, that older boy and I. I blamed him. He thought my leadership was poor, so he went off and formed his own camp. And this guy, his whole thing was, we're not going to worry about rescue. We're going to be hunters, and we're going to paint our faces up and go, be tough and everything. So that's attractive to these young boys, because I'm saying let's sit and be reasonable and
be
try to
safe
get rescued.
and logical. And
and these guys got out of control. One of the boys thought that the captain was a monster, so he killed him. They came and stole our knife. They stepped on the glasses. When I challenged them saying, hey, don't you want to be rescued? This is where things turned a corner. They said, we don't care. We're in this for the meat.
Sure.
We were not coming back together on this team meat. They became savages.
Right.
They end up killing a wild pig, and that draws the remaining members of my camp, except for that boy with the glasses. And so it's just the two of us, and we're pretty scared. Things go crazy. Another boy dies. Me and my partner go over to their little Neverland area. We try and pull everyone together to be sensible.
Right.
But then one of those crazy kids pushes a boulder off this cliff, and it lands on my friend, and it kills him. So now I'm the only one left who is not a wild hunter. And so I'm on the run from them. They end up just setting fire to the jungle to smoke me out so that they can kill me. The hunters are after me. The fire is raging. I don't think I'm going to make it out alive. And I run and I make it. I fall into the beach, and I'm laying there weeping and heaving. This pilot comes up. They saw the fire, and they landed on the beach to rescue us.
Irony.
I'm just, these kids are crazy. They're all, trying to kill, and they pushed this huge boulder. I mean, it was like the size of a wrecking ball on my friend, and it killed him. And he's like, whoa, let me stop you there. Have you heard that soothing album, Wrecking Ball, by Emmylou Harris? It completely changed her career. I'm like, they killed.
I appreciate that, but
they killed all these kids, and they're about to kill me. And he's like, man, I'll tell you what kills me is her adaptation of that Jimi Hendrix song, Waterfall. And I was like, is this a delusion?
Are you a real adult? What is going on here?
But anyway, they rescued us. Kids got put in timeout.
Sure.
And then sent home.
Yeah.
And everything was fine. And I did eventually find this album, so that's my memory of Emmylou Harris's Wrecking Ball.
Timeout. That's appropriate for killing people. Sure.
Well, you don't want to fight violence with violence.
No, well, that's true. You're kind of setting the precedent.
Yeah. So here's the first track on this album, Wrecking Ball, and this is Where Will I Be?
All the streets are cracked, and there's glass everywhere, and a baby stares out with motherless eyes, and the long-run beauty on fields of war, traveling a lament to the poet's core. Where will I be? When that trumpet sounds.
Why are we talking about
Right.
an album of covers by a prolific, legendary country artist? That doesn't sound like country.
Right.
Right. Quick backstory on Emmylou. So she's born in Alabama. She grew up as a military brat, moving around. Her dad was actually a prisoner of war. You got to think the pain of 10 months not knowing if your dad is alive is going to influence you as an artist. And at this point, she had fallen in love with folk music. She worshipped Joan Baez. She even wrote a letter to Pete Seeger when she was in high school saying that she feels that she hasn't suffered enough to be able to write anything.
Oh, wow.
And he wrote her back and remembered that years later, which is pretty cool. She actually spent time in North Carolina at the University of North Carolina, Greensboro.
Which has actually produced a fair number of musical stars, if you will.
Is that right?
In addition to Emmylou Harris, Jim Avett, who's the father of Seth and Scott Avett, a musician in his own right. Ben Folds is a alum of UNC Greensboro. The rapper DaBaby. And then perhaps most famously is Samwell, who had a hit on YouTube a few years ago called What in the Butt?
So UNCG, well done.
I mean, like I said, an illustrious long list of musical alums.
Yeah.
That just happens to include Emmylou Harris.
That's right. I like that you mentioned Ben Folds as kind of an afterthought. Kind of the final was like, and Samuel.
And Samuel.
Yeah. Like, this is the finale. So she drops out of college. She goes to New York. She gets married. She has a baby. She gets a divorce. She moves back in with her parents in Northern Virginia and feels like she's done. She feels like a failure. The Flying Burrito Brothers, they hear her sing, I guess just like playing in the bar or whatever. They move on to their next gig, which is, I believe their last gig is the Flying Burrito Brothers ever. And they had invited Graham Parsons to join them. Graham Parsons had been part of that band. He is famous for being in the Byrds and leading them to record Sweetheart of the Rodeo, kind of being the godfather of this country, rock, soul, blues fusion.
Right.
You know, as he's there, he's talking to them. This is according to Emmylou Harris in an interview. He's talking to the Flying Burrito Brothers, talking about an upcoming album he's doing and how he wishes he had a female artist to sing with. And they say, hey, we just heard this artist. We don't know how to get in touch with her. So this is the crazy part. In that room at that time was Emmylou Harris's kid's babysitter.
What?
Yeah. Because she apparently just loved music, would travel around, see people play, was always backstage and that sort of thing. So the babysitter goes, I know how to find her.
Oh my God.
Isn't that insane?
That's unbelievable.
That she's in the room at that time and knows. And so gets in touch with Emmylou. Graham brings her into the spotlight and then sadly, tragically dies of an overdose. But here's Emmylou and she starts off her career and just blows the country world away.
Wow.
Her first 8 albums are in the top 10 of the U.S. country charts. Albums 2 and 3 being number 1. And then she has albums at number 2, number 3.
Wow.
So she is on top of the world. So this lady is a country legend already at this point. She comes to this place where she's at a crossroads.
She makes a deal with the devil, like Robert Johnson.
That's right.
Oh, man.
Yep. Played by
Daniel
Joe
Lanois.
Satriani.
Joe Satriani.
He plays the devil.
He plays, oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah. It is Satriani, right? Is it Joe Satriani or Steve Vai that plays the devil? That's the highest honor if you are those type of guitarists, is to play the devil, not Robert Johnson.
Well, I think what's more nuts, Ralph Macchio.
Yeah, Ralph Macchio, who at the time was probably 35.
Right.
Because he's like 28 when he plays
Yeah,
Karate Kid.
he's 60 now. He's 59 now.
Yeah.
So Emmylou Harris is at a crossroads.
Yes, so she's at a crossroads. She's in her late 40s. Her albums are slowly getting less well received.
Country music is changing at that point.
She's not changing. She's doing her thing. But country, you know, Nashville's like this corporate beast. It's going to swallow anything that doesn't serve its agenda. You know, it's like what's that monster in Return of the Jedi? The Sarlacc.
Yeah.
Remember they go to the desert and it's that monster. And Emmylou is like Princess Leia.
Yep.
She's tied up to a record label, right? And then who's Daniel Lanois? He's Luke Skywalker. No, he's a good guy, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And so she chokes. Yeah, this is great. She chokes out her record label, gets off that major record label. In comes Daniel Lanois. They team up, swing off of that ship, and then escape the corporate Nashville monster.
That's a great analogy.
And then she records an album that sounds like this. Her first album not to chart on the country charts.
Really?
She was basically abandoned.
Yeah.
Because what was country at this point?
I'm thinking this is the era of Travis Tritt, Alan Jackson, Garth Brooks.
95 is when Shania came out, like a twister, making its way
Canadian
through.
twister.
Isn't that amazing that the highest selling, is she the highest selling country artist or is that Garth Brooks?
I would think Garth, but I guess she's got to be right there with him.
But she's Canadian. It's like Nashville loves her.
Yeah.
And she's not even from this country.
Right.
90s country is when they just completely sold out to pop. And meanwhile, over here in the corner, Emmylou is doing this ambient album of cover songs by not even country artists that she's covering.
Right.
Actually, the first person she's covering is Daniel Lanois.
Yeah.
Which is pretty funny because she's like, I want to cover Neil Young and Bob Dylan. He's like, what about me?
New to Emmylou Harris, new to the sound, new to this album. Knowing the experience and background of Daniel Lanois, this sounds like Daniel Lanois. If you've listened to U2 from Unforgettable Fire on, you're going to hear Daniel Lanois' fingerprints on their albums. There are so many similarities and touches and sounds that are so reminiscent of U2. I mean, Larry Bolin Jr.,
Yeah.
aka Larry Mullen Senior's son,
Right.
is playing, is on drums on this album. But I mean, even lyrically, this could be a song Bono would have written. It has all the elements of a U2-esque song to it.
Yeah, gospel leanings.
Yeah,
you know.
biblical references
Right.
and motherless child kind of thing going on. I mean, there's a lot going on there that harkens back to Lanois' work with U2, which is probably one reason why I immediately love this, the way this album starts out.
Yeah, we talked about Daniel Lanois in detail a year ago, actually, because we started off season 2 in January with Jeff Wood as our guest, covering Achtung Baby. A lot of the credit often goes to the bands, but when you listen to Achtung Baby, it really was Eno and Lanois who influenced that, and you can hear that when you listen to Lanois' other stuff, because you go, oh,
Yeah.
that sounds like U2. It's like, no, it doesn't sound like U2. U2 sounds like Lanois.
Right.
Even to where the beginning part of the song 1 with the guitar, that's Daniel Lanois playing. It's not even the edge. As you dig in, you see that his influence is very distinct.
Yep.
The next song we're going to cover is track 3. This is a Julie Miller song called All My Tears.
When I don't cry for me, in my Father's arms I'll be. The one that's were left on the soul, I'll be healing, I'll be whole. Sun and moon will be replaced with the light of Jesus' face. And I will not be ashamed, for my Savior knows my name. It don't matter where you bury me, I'll be home and I'll be free. It don't matter anywhere I lay, all my tears be washed away.
Okay, so if you are an Emmylou Harris fan, this is the last thing you heard from her.
I need a high power love. I wanna feel that lightning streak. High power love, got to be down in the heart with me.
It's a little different.
Yeah, you don't blame her main audience for leaving.
Right.
If you love all that country stuff, this isn't country.
What you played before was country.
Yeah, especially for the time.
Yeah.
That was her first record on the new label. They really tried to make another go at country.
Okay.
And after that, they basically said, you're Emmylou Harris, approaching 50. What do you want to do? And so she's, again, at a crossroads. She found Lanois because she loved his work with Bob Dylan.
Okay.
Time Out of Mind. Resurrected Bob's career.
Right.
To which our Bob Dylan expert, Dwayne Davis, would say, you can't resurrect what you can't kill. He was just resting for
He
a
was
little bit.
just biding his time.
Yeah. This is also coming after Johnny Cash's American
American,
recordings. So she maybe is thinking, I'm going to take a different direction.
Yeah. It worked for Johnny Cash. It's worked for Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The cool thing about Lanois is that even though he has a definite fingerprint on everything, it's not gimmick. His whole goal is to feature the voice. He's got this really deep low end with the bass and this foundation that's very, very heavy. But then he's got all this, it's been called the shimmer effect. He's got all these little ethereal things happening. There's a whole lot going on, but I don't think you would describe it as busy.
No.
Because everything stays out of the way just to feature the vocals.
The vocals are clearly the highlight and the high point of these songs. And I think you're totally right. I mean, with everything going on, the amount of sounds still get out of the way of the vocals.
You know, we talked about Willie Nelson's Redheaded Stranger, and that was very simple and featured the song because it was sparse. And this is more just Lanois. I'm just blown away by it. He is able to use all of these sounds to create space. You'd think that if he piled on the stuff on the track, it would just, the track would get really busy, but instead it's really simple.
Yeah.
And it was really cool with Bob Dylan, but I think that this pairing of Lanois and Emmylou is just even way better because she's got the voice. That Julie Miller song, we'll reference some of the originals. Most of them are fairly similar. You know, obviously Lanois doing his own song sounds like this, except she's singing it. The Julie Miller song is great.
Yeah, and I wasn't familiar with Julie Miller before this either.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think that's kind of the other cool thing about this album was obviously, you know, Jimi Hendrix and Dylan and Neil Young. And I mean, I was familiar with Lanois, but you know, there's folks like the McGarrigle sisters and Julie Miller that were new to me as well. It's like these songs were nice little treats to listen to.
These are kind of folk heroes, a lot of times going under the current of mainstream society, but they are the ones who are writing the most beautiful songs.
Right.
Matt, you know, I have a background in the church, have been a part of church music for many years. This is one of the most beautiful songs of worship, not written by somebody who's a worship artist. And that's an issue that I have is I think that people in the church get in this bubble. They're listening to like older church artists.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, Julie Miller's being influenced by Dylan, by all these bluegrass artists. Like it's just true art and poetry. Yeah, I think this song could be sung on any Sunday in any church, and it probably captures the heart and the feel of, you know, the Christian message way better than some of the tripe that's being sung right now. That's just kind of all emotional fluff. You know, you've got artists who want to write music for the church and they get famous ripping off something from 10, 15 years ago, and their lyrics are just trite, emotional stuff. It's the real poets, the ones
It's like Samuel.
Yeah, like Samuel. All right, we'll keep moving on. This next track is a Neil Young song called Wrecking Ball. Listeners, as Matt and I were listening to, we noticed in that chorus, there's a really busy tambourine going on, but it's so far in the background, it just kind of creates this little shimmer. That's Neil Young singing backing vocals. You could check out the Neil Young version. Love you, Neil, but this version is 10 times better. It sounds so good with her in this production. And Neil's background vocals.
Yeah.
It's such a cool harmony that he does.
It's rare for you to say like, oh yeah, you really do a good job complimenting someone else doing your song.
Yeah,
but that's what's happening here for sure.
Yeah.
The way they talk about a wrecking ball in this case is like a dance. You're going to a formal ball.
Oh.
But it's called the wrecking ball. Is how I interpret it.
Okay. I saw it as, because it says, we got nowhere to hide, we got nowhere to go. So kind of forbidden love. But if you still decide you want to take a ride, like if you want to take the risk, then we'll meet out at the wrecking ball, the construction site where no one is, you know, and then we'll go on to the next town and go dancing.
There you go.
Like small town.
Like they can't dance in the town. It's like, it's the whole Footloose plot going on.
That's right.
So they've got to go to another town to dance.
He wrote this for Footloose.
Right.
He was up against Kenny Loggins. We're bringing in two heavy hitters, Kenny Loggins, Neil Young. Who's going to win?
I heard they were actually in the room together, side by side, and had to do each song.
Had to duke it out. How different would this world be if Footloose had been called Wrecking Ball? They missed the boat on this one.
For sure. Undoubtedly.
Again, country music outright rejected this album. I love it because as she reinvents herself, not only does she choose Lanois, who is this pop rock U2 producer, But then she chooses someone like Neil Young, who is not a friend of Nashville.
Right.
And as we'll see, Jimi Hendrix. She chooses these people who are outsiders. It's almost like she's really trying to get away from that whole Nashville conglomerate of country
Polished.
corporation.
Yep.
Yeah, incorporated. She continues on with choosing another, I won't say enemy of Nashville, but definitely not a friend.
Yeah.
In Bob Dylan with the song Every Grain of Sand.
Oh, the flowers of indulgence and the weeds of yesteryear, like criminals they have choked the breath of conscience and good cheer. The sun beat down upon the steps of time to let the way, to ease the pain of idleness and the memory of decay. I gaze into the doorway of temptation's angry flame, and every time I pass that way, I always hear my name. Then onward in my journey, I come to understand that every hair is numbered like every grain of sand.
It wouldn't have surprised me if this had been written like by John Wesley 150 years before or something like that. And
Yeah.
again, for me, like digging into it a little bit more and reading about when Dylan wrote this song too, it all kind of makes sense in that way, in that vein of like at his like conversion stage, you know,
Yeah.
when he wrote it. Again, to your point about worship music, like this would not surprise me to go into a Methodist church and hear this melody, these lyrics sung on a Sunday morning.
Yeah. It has a lot of Christian undertones, spiritual. He had been converted in the late 70s to Christianity, and he has 3 albums, his kind of Christian trilogy. Speaking of this, there's an incredible picture out there that Dwayne Davis showed me of Bob Dylan in a Bible study. But it's like afterwards, it's just kind of like the bright-eyed Christian standing there, and then Bob standing there looking like Bob, you know, and it's just amazing. It almost looks like the Bernie meme.
Oh,
Where
yeah.
he's been like,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, photoshopped in there. But that's not to say he wasn't sincere. It's just that it's Bob Dylan. He can't not Bob.
Yeah.
The imagery in the song is incredible. It paints this grandiose picture of this all-knowing, all-eternal God, and yet seeing his mark in every grain of
Right.
sand. Dwayne's going to get me for this, but this is absolutely 100% superior to the original. Emmylou and Sheryl Crow sang this at Johnny Cash's funeral.
They didn't do All I Want to Do Is Have Some Fun.
They got together to meet, and Sheryl Crow's like, I got a song.
What if they somehow segued into that?
She kept trying to push it towards that way. It's funny that Sheryl Crow was part of that. Nothing against Sheryl Crow, but, you know, sort of pop country artist. I mean,
Yeah.
you'd think it would be like Emmylou and Dolly Parton
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
But
I almost said Roseanne Barr. I meant, sure.
Nashville loves
Yeah,
Roseanne.
Roseanne Barr.
All right, next song by the great Lucinda Williams called Sweet Old World.
See what you lost when you left this world, this sweet old world. See what you lost when you left this world, this sweet old world. The breath from your own lips, the touch of fingertips, a sweet and tender kiss, the sound of a midnight train, wearing someone's ring, someone calling your name. Somebody so what you lost when you left this world, this sweet old world. What you lost when you left this world, this sweet old world.
The way that they make use of Neil Young's backing vocals on that too,
It kills me.
For as prolific and as great as Neil Young and Bob Dylan are, and they are, I don't think of either one of them as being like the greatest singers.
No.
Which is okay. I mean, like, that's not the strength. That's not, what you go to those guys for. But in these last two songs, the way that Lanois incorporates Neil Young's harmonies and backing vocals is just so incredibly powerful in the song.
That was not in the original, actually. Neil Young came in and just sat down at the piano and worked out that harmony. And it's not just I'm just going to follow you.
Yeah.
It's almost like a counter melody. Makes it so much sadder. It doesn't bring you down as much as make you reflect.
Yeah, it's a very pensive, nostalgic song. And it makes me wonder, was that about a family member who's gone? Is it about a lover who like made a choice and went away? And so it's like,
well, it's actually about a friend of hers. I think it may have been a lover back in 1979, a poet who had taken his life, and so she wrote this song. It took 13 years to be released because the people in charge were saying no, that's too sad, we're not going to do that, But then she put out an album of the same name, Sweet Old World, number 22 on Rolling Stone's 40 most sad country songs.
Jeez.
Yeah.
From the genre that owns the category of sad songs.
Yeah. So that's saying a lot.
and it's Lucinda Williams. It's not Reba McEntire
or George Jones or something like that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't change anything about Willie Nelson's Red-Headed Stranger that we talked about with Tim Hunter. He introduced me to that, fell in love with it. However, I would love to hear Daniel Lanois' production on this song, not the ones earlier with the funky noises and the shimmer, but this song on Willie Nelson's album, just to see what that would feel like. Because it's a very simple production. There's not a lot going on. There's a little piano that comes into the chorus, but it's very simple in the verses.
That'd be really interesting to hear. And similarly, I would love to have heard Willie Nelson doing the harmonies on the song.
Oh my gosh!
I think in place of Neil Young. I mean, Neil Young is fantastic on this, but and maybe they'd be similar. I mean, because Willie, they both have those voices that can crack as they get a little bit higher, but I think Willie putting his spin on this harmony would have been just spectacular,
amazing.
Yeah.
Here's a taste of the original by Lucinda.
See what you lost when you left this world, this sweet old world. What you lost when you left this world, this sweet old world. The breath from your own lips, the touch of fingertips, a sweet and tender kiss.
This is one of the two on the album that I think the original is amazing. I still like Emmylou's, but I think that original by Lucinda is very Lucinda and very sad.
What's the other song that the original is amazing?
Funny you should ask, Matt, because it's the next song we're going to cover, which is Orphan Girl.
I am an orphan on God's highway, but I share my rose. If you go my way, I have no mother
by Gillian Welch, who had not even released an album.
Wow.
She'd been known as a writer, but this song kind of put her on the map.
Right.
This is the song she played for the record company when she got her record deal. And she also wrote the foreword to the re-released vinyl edition, a very reverent piece about the album Wrecking Ball and about Emmylou and her influence. I love how she describes Emmylou putting her song on the album. It was the greatest and kindliest shove anyone could have given me.
Huh. This isn't a case of right place at the right time.
No.
She had the goods, she had the skills, and
Yeah.
it was more of a matter of time.
Yeah, it was
than
going to
anything.
happen.
Yeah.
Because this original version is incredible.
I have had friendships, pure and golden, but the ties of kinship have not known them. I've known no mother, no father, no sister, no brother. I am an orphan girl.
That sounds like it could have been recorded like in the dressing room of a, like backstage, and
Yeah.
it's just, but it's so,
In the 40s.
yeah, exactly. But it's so crystalline and clear and beautiful.
Man, she's got that mountain voice that's so perfect. And that version is beautiful.
Yeah.
But again, Emmylou, the songs that she takes and what she and Lanois do with them, it's magical. This album is incredible.
They do it in a way that it's paying respect to these songs. It's not like, yeah, you made a good start, Gillian. You know, that's nice. We're gonna improve upon it. It's not that. It's more of, I love this song. I'm inspired by the song.
Yeah.
It makes me want to give it the respect and the honor it deserves.
Finest Work fans, one thing that we challenge each other with every Epipod is if you had to remove a song, which one would it be? And so, Matt, Emmylou is, gosh, what's she going to do?
what's
She's
she
so
gonna-
sweet.
Yeah, right. She's not going to meet you at the Wrecking Ball.
She's going to stand you up
Oh, man.
if you don't take a song off Wrecking Ball. So if you had to, which one would it be?
So again, I don't know this album. I haven't sat with this album from anything more than this past week. This could change in a week from now, probably. But the song that does the least for me from this album is the title track, Wrecking Ball. It's hard for me to pinpoint why. In an album full of wonderfully beautiful songs, to me, it's the least beautiful song.
It is an album of beautiful songs. And there's not really, I don't think, anything that doesn't fit
Sure.
per se.
Yeah.
But the one I would take off is Going Back to Harlan.
I'm going back to Harlem. Oh, I'm going back to Harlem. Oh, I'm going back to Harlem.
And there's not even a strong case for it. Yeah, I had to pick one.
I mean, it's like asking you to pick your favorite child.
That's easy.
Well, I
I mean
mean,
that would
well-
be. Listeners, this may feel like an odd album for us to do, even as well known as it is. It has not sold millions of copies,
Right.
if it's even sold a million at all. But it is an incredible album. I encourage you to put some headphones on, take a walk, and listen to this because it's very beautiful.
We're still in the middle of just weird times, obviously. To have an album like this that is just so beautifully produced, it's so full of just pretty songs, but also, you know, very retrospective and reverent songs. It's as good a time as any to get to know this album. It's been a treat to get introduced to it.
Are you listening right now?
Follow us on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook at Finest Worksongs. And as we mentioned earlier, send us an email, finestworksongs@gmail.com. Who knows? Maybe we'll read your email on the air in another edition of Kenny Gmail.
All right, we've got more Epipods coming your way.
Oh, yeah.
But until then, we hope you have a great day, guys.
Yeah, just keep doing what you're doing.
Really appreciate
You're
it.
doing great.
Yeah.
Hang in there.
Love you, boo. Our theme song is by the incredible band Medium Heat. This track is called Radio. And you should check them out at mediumheat.bandcamp.com. They are on Facebook at Medium Heat Music.